Chapter 17, Section 3, we're going to be talking about circles and how to find circumference and area using the different parts of a circle. And I first just want to go over the parts that a circle has. If you remember this stuff from geometry, then a lot of what I'm going to go over right now, these vocab words are going to be reviewed for you. So first, a circle is just a closed, curved line that has points that lie in a plane that are the same distance from the center. So all that means is that, circles will change their size depending on how far away from the center of the circle you're looking at. So if you're looking at, 2 inches away from the center, or 2 feet away from the center, or 2 miles away from the center, that will all change the points that are inside of the circle. The center would be the point that's the same distance away from every point on the circle. It's right in the middle. Now, a radius would start from the center of the circle and then go to the edge of the circle, and it's just a straight line segment. We also have the diameter, which is going to go from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle, but it has to pass through the middle. And just something to note that the radius is always half the length of the diameter. So if you know how long the diameter is, you can divide that by 2 to find a radius, or you can go the other way. If you know what a radius is, you can multiply that by 2 to find the diameter. The circumference is a word that we use for circles because circles don't have sides to them like other shapes do. So circumference represents the perimeter or the length around the circle. And a semicircle would just be half of a circle, and those are always created when you have diameters drawn in. For circumference and area, circumference actually has 2 equations. You could use pi times d, or you could use 2 pi r. D stands for diameter, r stands for radius. So they are the exact same equation. The difference is that if you're using radius, you have to take it times 2, like I just talked about, in order to get the diameter. Area is only one equation, and it has to be using the radius, so if you are only given the diameter, you will have to change that to a radius, and so your equation for that should just be pi r squared. Alright, so let's get into some examples here. So I want to find the circumference of a circle that has a diameter of 1.3 meters to the nearest tenth of a meter. So I'm going to use the equation pi times diameter since I'm given diameter. So we're going to take pi times 1.3. And that's going to be 4.1 if I round it. Next one here, they want us to find the circumference for a radius that is 1 feet and 9 inches. Now, if you have problems like this one where your measurement of the radius or the diameter has 2 different units in it, like this one has feet and inches, you're going to want to somehow either convert that to a decimal form, or you're going to want to convert it all to a specific measurement. So you're either going all to feet or you're going all to inches. Since they gave me radius, I am going to use the equation 2 pi r. And so I'm going to rewrite the 1 foot 9 inches as 1.75. Now how I got the 0.75 is because 9, if you think about, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I put 9 over 12, that reduces to 3/4, which would be 0.75. So it's 3/4 of a foot. So then we plug it in. So we take 2 times pi now times 1.75. And if we round it to the nearest hundredth, it actually comes out to be an even 11 because the decimals after that are zeros. Now we'll get into area. So this one has a radius of 8.5 meters. So we're going to use the pi r squared formula. We're going to take pi times 8.5 squared. And then again, rounding it to the 10th, since it's 0.0, you could just round it as 227 like I did on the last one. Now for area, make sure that your label changes. Like circumference, like we did with perimeter, that was just inches or just feet or whatever the label would be. But when you get into area, you have to make sure that you square it. It has to be squared units. This one is similar to the one that I talked about just a couple examples ago, where I have the diameter given to me and it's written in a measurement that has 2 different units. So I have feet and I have inches. Area, again, is having to use the radius, so I'm going to have to take that into consideration also after I convert this to one measurement. So I'm going to focus first on the 12 feet 8 inches, and I'm going to rewrite that as 12 2/3 because I'm putting 8 over 12, which would be 2/3, which is the same as 0.6 repeating. Now I have to divide that by 2 because that's the diameter, and I have to use radius for area. So I'm going to divide that 12 2/3, or 12.6 repeating, by 2. And so that's going to come out to be 6 1/3. So that's the radius for this problem. So now we can plug it into our equation. We can take pi times 6 1/3 and square that. And we're going to get 126.01, and this would be meters squared. Make sure for these problems that you are using a calculator to help you, because you've got pi. If you don't have a pi button, or you don't have a calculator that has the pi button on it, you can always use 3.14. And your answer should be close enough to what I would be getting if I was using the pi button programmed on a calculator. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. I have a 15-inch diameter wheel has a 3-inch hole in the center. I want to find the area of a side of the wheel to the nearest tenth, and I do have a picture for this one. So the big circle in this picture is the wheel, and that has a diameter of 15 inches. The middle circle is the hole in the middle, and that's the 3 inches. So we're going to break this apart. I am going to first find the area of the outside circle. So that would be like the whole thing. And so we're going to use that equation pi r squared. So we're going to take pi times 7 1/2 squared. Now 7 1/2 came from me taking 15 divided by 2. Again, you want to make sure that you're using radius and not the diameter. So that comes out to be 176.71 if I round it. Now if I want to find area of the inside circle, so that would be the circle with a diameter of 3 inches. Again, I'm going to have to take 3 divided by 2, so I'm going to do pi times 1 1/2 squared, and that comes out to be 7.07. So they're wanting to just find the area of the side of the wheel, so that would be the big circle, so the outside circle, subtracting the inside circle, so taking away the hole. So the area of the wheel would be taking that outside area minus the inside area. So plugging in the numbers that we found, I'm going to take 176.71 minus 7.07. And that's going to give me 169.4, and this would be inches squared. Okay, so make sure you guys go to the homework website and you check the link to the Google Doc that has the homework assignment for you. And again, make sure that you're submitting me those via email, so you can type right on the, make a copy of the Google Doc, type your answers in on to that doc if you still want to do that, that's fine. If you want to type up the answers and email them to me, or if you want to write them out on a piece of paper and take a picture, that's fine. And again, email me if you need any help.